The secret of waking up at 5 a.m. For many years, Daniel admired successful people who always seemed energetic, focused, and ahead of everyone else. Whenever he watched interviews or read books, he discovered that many of these people shared one habit. They woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning. To him, that sounded impossible. He loved sleeping late, pressing the snooze button repeatedly, and rushing through his mornings. Every day felt chaotic. He arrived at work tired, forgot important tasks, and constantly complained that there was never enough time to achieve his dreams. One evening, an elderly man in his neighborhood noticed Daniel's frustration and invited him for tea. The old man smiled and said, "The secret of waking up at 5 a.m. is not about losing sleep. It is about gaining life." Those words remained in Daniel's mind. The old man explained that the early hours of the morning were a treasure chest filled with peace and opportunities. Before the world woke up, there were no noisy phones, no endless messages, and no distractions. A person could think clearly, plan wisely, and improve themselves without interruption. The old man challenged Daniel to wake up at 5 o'clock for just 30 days. Although doubtful, Daniel accepted the challenge. That night, he slept earlier than usual and placed his alarm clock on the other side of the room. The next morning, when the alarm rang, every part of him wanted to return to bed. Yet he remembered the old man's words and forced himself to stand. Outside, the world was quiet and beautiful. The sky was painted with soft colors, and the cool morning air refreshed him. He made a cup of tea and sat by the window. For the first time in years, he felt calm. He wrote down his goals and realized how much time he had been wasting. Day after day, he continued waking at 5. He started reading books, exercising, and planning his day before anyone else was awake. Slowly, he noticed something changing within him. He no longer felt rushed or stressed. Instead, he felt prepared and in control. The secret, he discovered, was not the hour itself, but what that hour allowed him to become. It gave him a chance to invest in himself before the demands of the day arrived. The simple act of waking at 5 had opened a door to discipline, self-reflection, and purpose that he had never known before. As the weeks passed, Daniel's life began transforming in ways he never expected. His friends wondered why he seemed happier and more confident. At work, his manager noticed that he completed assignments earlier than everyone else and often had new ideas to improve the company. The extra morning hours had become his private classroom and training ground. He spent the first 20 minutes exercising, which gave him energy for the entire day. Then, he read inspiring books and wrote down lessons that could help him grow. Finally, he spent time thinking about his dreams and planning the steps needed to achieve them. Before adopting this habit, he had always believed that successful people possessed some mysterious talent that ordinary people lacked. Now he understood that success often comes from simple daily choices repeated consistently over time. One morning, while watching the sunrise, Daniel remembered the elderly man's words about gaining life. He realized that waking at 5 had given him something more valuable than extra hours. It had given him clarity. During those peaceful moments, he could hear his own thoughts without the noise of the world. He discovered that many of his worries were small, and many of his excuses were unnecessary. He also learned that discipline creates freedom. Because he started his mornings intentionally, the rest of the day became easier to manage. He no longer forgot important appointments or postponed his responsibilities. Even his relationships improved because he had more patience and less stress. Soon, other people began asking him for advice. They wanted to know the secret behind his sudden transformation. Daniel smiled and told them that the real secret was not merely setting an alarm for 5 in the morning. The secret was preparing for success the night before, sleeping early, and having a meaningful reason to get out of bed. Without a purpose, Waking early becomes torture. With a purpose, it becomes an exciting opportunity. He explained that every sunrise is like a gift wrapped in silence and possibility. Most people sleep through it, never realizing the power hidden within those quiet hours. He encouraged his friends to try it for themselves and discover what they could become if they dedicated the first moments of each day to growth and self-improvement. Months later, Daniel stood on a small stage during a community gathering and shared his journey with hundreds of people. He told them that before learning the secret of waking up at 5 in the morning, he had felt trapped by laziness, excuses, and the constant belief that he never had enough time. Looking at the crowd, he said that time is the one treasure every person receives equally. The difference lies in how each person chooses to use it. Waking at 5 had not made him rich overnight or magically solved every problem in his life. Instead, it had changed his mindset. It taught him that greatness is built during ordinary moments that most people ignore. The early morning became a sacred appointment with himself. It was the hour when he exercised his body, strengthened his mind, and renewed his dreams. He confessed that there were still difficult mornings when he wanted to remain in bed. However, he had learned another secret. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline remains. Every time he rose before dawn, he kept a promise to himself, and those promises slowly built his confidence. The audience listened carefully as he explained that waking at 5 is not about competing with others or proving how hardworking someone is. It is about creating space for personal growth and intentionally choosing the kind of life one desires. He encouraged everyone to begin with small steps. Sleep earlier, prepare for the next day, and give yourself a reason to rise with excitement. As the meeting ended, many people approached him, inspired by his story. Among them was a young boy who asked whether waking at 5 could change his future. Daniel smiled warmly and replied, "It can, if you use those hours to become a better version of yourself." The boy nodded thoughtfully and promised to try. As Daniel walked home under the evening sky, he remembered the old man who had first shared the secret with him. He realized that the true power of waking up at 5 a.m. is not found in the clock or the darkness before sunrise. The real secret is that those quiet early hours give people the opportunity to shape their lives before the world begins demanding their attention. In that peaceful silence, dreams are planned, character is built, and extraordinary futures quietly begin.